Welcome to the Community Table, where we explore the secrets to success of the top real estate producers in our local market. A real conversation, hosted by Community Mortgage.
Good morning, everybody. This is Andy O'Fee, the Yankee closer from Crump Mortgage, and welcome to the Community Table. I am a senior lender at Crump Mortgage, and today I have two really super special guests on our podcast. We have the Tapleys. We have Meatha Tapley and Tyler Tapley from Crye-like. And they're going to share some of their stories and their successes and their failures about their business. And hopefully all of us can pick up some of these points and learn from it. So Tyler, why don't you kick off and give us an idea about your business and your structure and how things go with both of you and how you work together, especially as husband and wife.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Andy, for letting us come on here and chat with you.
Yeah, we're excited. I've been an agent for 20 years. This is year 20, I believe. You're the same, or roughly around
17 or 18. Yep.
And native Memphian, lived here pretty much all my life, and met Meatha in college at Tennessee. I'm more of a Tiger fan. She's more of a Volunteer fan. But
a house divided.
Yes.
A house divided, actually. And so moved back here after college, and I actually was a commercial agent for 5 years. I worked for C.B. Richard Ellis, which is a very prestigious real estate firm. And Meatha started working with my parents, actually, first doing kind of admin work and stuff like that. And this would have been 07, 08, 06. And then she got her license and really rose through the ranks. And she primarily focused on DeSoto County at that time, probably in 09, 2010. She's still licensed in Mississippi and Tennessee. I'm licensed in Tennessee, Mississippi, and Arkansas. Meatha does most of our work in Mississippi. She's better at it. She represents buyers and sellers there. But I stopped doing commercial, went to Crye-like. It was during the recession, which I believe you were doing loans then.
Just started right about when we were coming out of it.
So
tricky times.
Yes.
Tricky times, but a blessing in some ways, because it was so challenging that, and the phone wasn't ringing off the hook, that you really had to learn your product, just like in your situation. I remember focusing on how to use the MLS, how to pull comps. You had to know how to market a house because it was so tough at that time.
And what about showing buyers? That was totally different, like months on end.
It would be, you would show people
all day long.
8, 9, 10 months, and then they would look at you and they would literally write a lowball offer, and they wouldn't get pre-approved, and you couldn't really make them get pre-approved because there was no motivation. It wasn't, a house would be listed on a Tuesday or Wednesday. We didn't show it till that week, the weekend.
Why were they so reluctant?
There was so much inventory, and it was just a different time. Once again, if a house was listed on a Tuesday or Wednesday, we didn't want to even show it till Saturday or Sunday, and we knew, because if you did show it that day, 2 or 3 more were going to show up afterwards. So we would just knock them all out, 8 or 9 houses.
It's kind of the spilling of, there's always more, what else is out there?
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Nobody would really be in love with a house because they knew something else might come up that might be cheaper or better. And once again, they would write lowball offers, and you couldn't really blame them. And they'd say, well, my relative did that and he got it. And so you just...
So how did you build a business coming out of a time whenever there were few sales and a lot of sellers wanting to sell? We would take listings. They'd sit there for 6 or 7 months or more and still not sell sometimes.
Right.
We did a lot of foreclosure work back then. We actually were dealing with Community Mortgage 20 years ago, doing FHA 203K loans, which are repair loans. There were so many foreclosures. There were so many as-is sales. To answer your question, we had to just work hard and stay in constant communication. It's completely different agents now, or maybe they started like during COVID, they're used to watching House Hunters and just showing 2 or 3 houses.
Everything looks so easy on those shows too, right?
It looks
and
so
glamorous.
Right.
And so
We do things that are not glamorous a lot.
Right.
it was so clean, and the houses and professional and well maintained, and so it was a blessing that it wasn't easy for us, because we had to instill good working habits. It wasn't like during COVID where you literally just open the door and say go ahead, and people were waiving appraisals and all sorts of things like that.
You say good habits, and it reminds me, lots of times you say basics. Lots of times I tell people there's no gimmicks in real estate.
Yeah, you were talking, you referenced earlier failures, and we were chuckling about that. I mean, we have failed all sorts of times. We wrote a book, or we half wrote it. The guy took my money and ghosted me. And
would that be considered a failure?
It's
That's
definitely
a
failure.
marketing failure for sure.
It's
What a
marketing
mini.
failure. And what else have we done? We've done radio ads and never had any success. If other people are listening and they've done that, hey, good for them. It didn't work for us.
It hasn't worked for me either.
It
So.
didn't. Yes, chime in if you have some failures that you've done.
That radio is not one of them. I'll tell you that. That was not a very. That was
maybe we have both a face for radio. Maybe that's the.
That's right.
We've done
That's
some
the line.
expensive software for expireds, and I know some agents have success with that. Again, did not work for us.
Yeah, we've
Very
called.
expensive.
We've called
time-consuming.
expireds. We've paid for leads. We've done Zillow. We actually did Zillow years ago. I mean, this would have been 2012, 2013, and we had a lot of success with that. And unfortunately now, I'm sure buyers still use Zillow, but that's really catered. First off, there's a lot more agents now, and a lot of people they already know somebody who is an agent, so it's hard to capture that lead. Zillow is really kind of focused now on mega teams, and those mega teams have to pay a lot of money to Zillow. They have to constantly talk to Zillow and maintain those relationships. And so one of the things I would say is everything changes. There are no constants.
Yeah, so you have not focused primarily, maybe you have focused on just the traditional buyer-seller combination, but you've really been focusing more on the investor side.
So, but I would say the thing that pulls that together is we both focus on the relationship with our clients, whether it's a home seller or an investor. The end goal to maximize that asset, to have hopefully a smooth transaction the first time around.
Right. Yeah.
Those never change.
Right.
Yeah, so when the recession was going on and I was now focusing on residential real estate, no one was buying houses. So the only people that were investors. So it wasn't that I initially wanted to just work with investors. That was the only people that were calling. And they might make a low offer, but they would at least be interested. So it kind of gravitated to that. And at the time, they were the only ones purchasing properties. So that was how it all started. So.
Right.
Do you work with both as a lender?
I do work with both, yes. Yeah.
Investors and owner-occupants?
Investors and owner-occupant, people looking for their first home or their fifth home. Investors can be a challenge. They're not local, majority of them. They don't necessarily understand the rules of a traditional mortgage when it comes to getting one. Educating them on that is important. When I tell them to put 25% down to get a premium price versus 20%. But it's a challenge with them initially, but I think once I can push one or two over the threshold, then they'll come back. So
typically if you can get to that 2 or 3 mark,
yes,
you've got a fan then.
Right, then they can come back to you and they will consistently use you. Now we have limitations with Fannie Mae in regards to how many investment properties you can hold. It's 8 now. But again, 8 investment properties that you have financed is really, that's a lot.
That's plenty.
Yes.
Yeah, you need to start liquidating.
Yes, you do.
So we talked earlier, you asked about failures and successes and what's succeeded. And it's funny, the building blocks that we used 20 years ago are still relevant today. Andy and I have become good friends because I would always be at the office. I'd be there late, and he was always there. He still are there. And so we would just converse and talk about what we're seeing in the market, and if there were new loan guidelines or, new government restrictions, things like that. But the first thing I would tell people is show up at the office, be responsive, answer your phone, answer your text. I mean, I know I texted Andy this weekend, and you always are able to answer quickly and stuff like that. But it's amazing. I'll answer the phone probably once a week, and somebody will say, I can't believe you answered. I called 2 or 3 other agents, and I couldn't get a hold of anybody. And it's just simple stuff. And it doesn't cost anything. It's free.
So, I mean, from that perspective, and we were talking just before, where that comes to where I used to work. And we chatted about this last week, about how important it is to answer the phone. When I was on the trading desk in New York City, if you didn't answer the call initially, either you were going to get barked at or you were going to miss an opportunity to make money. So I have that mindset now from being in that environment for 20 plus years that I don't want to miss the call. If I do, I'm going to get back to you either by saying I'm going to call you back at a certain time, or if you need me now, I can break away and do it. So that's very important, I think, from my side.
I think as an agent, if you've gotten to the point where when your phone rings, you feel like it's intrusive, it's an interruption, then you need some help. You need some systems or an assistant. You need some help. You've got to really change your perspective. When that phone rings, this is a possible paycheck, someone I might be able to help. You just don't know. You answer the call. But Tyler spoke about how we really try to focus on the basics. And like I said, I always say no gimmicks. And we try to give something of value back. I see you lots of times with your very high level financial market analysis, your Monday morning minutes. How do you come up with that? I mean, it's so deep. I feel like there's little pieces you can take away as an agent.
Thank you for that. That's a great question, because honestly, for me, my brain is wired a certain way now after being, I guess you can say, on the trading floor, right? And it's the bond floor, not the stock floor. Everyone gets confused when everyone sees all these movies about the New York Stock Exchange. But, we had 1,500 people working on the floor at Merrill Lynch.
Wow.
And we were all sitting close on top of each other. So I was really, I wouldn't say brainwashed, but I just knew what I had to do on a daily basis. And when I first started at Merrill Lynch, I started in the mailroom. I didn't have a degree coming out of Wharton or Cornell or some of these bigger business schools. I was street smart. So I got on the desk and I just worked my butt off. My brother Kevin told me when he got me my first job at Merrill Lynch, he's like, you be the first guy in and the last guy to leave every single day. Mm-hmm. Now that deteriorated as I elevated in the ranks at Merrill, but that was my job every day to make sure that I answered the bell. And it would start at 6:30, 7 in the morning. And that goes back to you saying being in the office. So
you truly think about that. So you would have to be in the office, be prepared to, was it 9 a.m. when it
well, the market, we were technically open whenever we really wanted it to be. But, when the Chicago Board of Exchange opened up, the stock market opened up, but the bond market was always open. And, we were just basically trying to get our day together, looking at your hedging, your positions, and how are we going to attack what we had. And then the next thing you know, the phones would start ringing.
So you were on call, basically.
Pretty much on call, right, for almost 8 to 12 hours a day.
And you had to be, you're right, you probably couldn't leave early just in case something crazy happened.
No. And I joke with people in the office all the time. They're like, Andy, do you want to go to lunch? And I'm like, well, I don't really take a lunch.
I don't do lunch.
I don't go to lunch because I'm afraid if I'm at lunch and I miss a phone call, I'm going to miss something. That sounds really strange. So when we were on the trading desk, it's funny. We used to eat right there. And it was, we would steal each other's food, and it was kind of funny. It was almost like a fraternity house to some extent, but we did not ever leave the desk for that full day. We were there the entire day, other than to get up and get a coffee to drink or go to the bathroom. We were right back, and I still do that to this day. I'll sneak off and have lunch, but I'm still in the office.
Mm-hmm. So having that grasp and concept and knowledge of those numbers, how does that help you with mortgages, when's time to lock in.
Yeah, that's good. So I go back to your question because I really didn't do a good job of answering it, but I'll answer it now. So that information that I have is unique to any lender nationwide. I don't know. I've not met another lender that traded mortgage-backed securities that has the information and the knowledge that I have from the back end to where, from the origination side, which is where I am now, to where the loans are sold and traded in the secondary mortgage market. And so that helps me to educate people to a level where I hope they understand. Now, when I started doing that, people were like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Right. So I have slowly tried to ratchet it down where you could have a conversation with me and understand what's going on with the market. We look at what's going on in Iran right now. We look at oil prices. We look at the stock market. We look at yields. There are certain things that I have to track to keep myself sharp, but it's also enabling you as an agent that may have a conversation with a higher end client that hasn't spoken to me yet, that you may hear one thing that I say and you may convey it to them, and then now you're the expert. And that's what I'm trying to do when I'm giving people that information. It's funny because when a very good friend of mine in the industry, Rob Crump, he said to me, he goes, hey buddy, agents just want to know that their loan's going to close. And I said, you know what? They're going to close. I mean, I don't miss a closing date. I will not. Anything that I can control, I won't miss it. But if I can give them something more value added when it comes to understanding what's impacting the markets, I've done my job. And nobody else does that, honestly. I don't know. I'm very proud of that. And I think
you should be.
I mean, I'd like taking advantage of the time that I have the ability to market. And I do all of my own stuff. I mean, my videos, my photography. We can talk about that in a little bit. But I do it all myself. And I enjoy it. That's the greatest thing about it.
So true story. We have a listing in Bartlett, and we got multiple offers on it from various agents and lenders.
Within the past 30 days.
This is within the last two or 3 weeks. True story. It's under contract. And I was at the Forest Hill office where Andy was. It was 4 or 5 o'clock. And I sent an email to my seller and I said, we've got multiple offers. I'm going to go over all the terms with you, and offer one, and I do not represent this buyer. It was another agent. And I wrote, really good lender. He will be honest with us and tell us.
You're so humble. Thank you. Really good. Thank you.
Offer 2, I wrote, pretty good lender, not as good as lender number 1. And I don't know that offer 1, which was your buyer, was the highest, but that seller listened. He accepted it. The home's inspections are done, appraisal's done, and I jokingly said to Andy, I said, that's a compliment to you and how hard you work and everything else. And
so I mean, and I think agents, what I've been stressing with them, and I get a lot of pushback because agents are taught a certain way of when they are giving out names. And I think the agents that are most successful are the ones that are not afraid to control the transaction, whether it be on the listing side, like you did, you controlled your sellers, or on the buy side when you're controlling the buyer. Because as a first-time home buyer, the last thing that I would want to do is be confused. And I think what agents do is, I mean, I know they do it, they don't want to control that buy-side transaction as much as they really should. And I think once they get burned by potentially using someone or the buyer using someone that they're not familiar with, then they'll start to learn like, wow, I need to say, look, I work with a team. This gentleman or this woman is my go-to. They're here in Memphis. You call them, they'll answer. You are controlling that transaction, at which point the listing agent likely will know who I am, and it carries a lot of weight. Mm-hmm. So I get a lot of pushback when I say, don't give 3 names out. That's I get a lot of people like, well, we don't want to be sued, and it's a rule. I'm like, there's no rule at all in TAR or MAR or wherever you want to look. It's just the fact that back, I guess 25, 30 years ago, there were some issues with people getting pushed back because the loan didn't go through. So, but to reiterate, when someone comes to me and they do a loan application, I am going to run them through the ringer right up front. And that's important.
You made me think of so many things. This has been happening recently because the market picks up this time of year typically. But one thing that I think I see with newer listing agents make a mistake is they get the offer, they're so excited they have an offer to present to their seller. Maybe they ask the other agent, have you worked with that lender before? Maybe they ask that, but I would be shocked if they even ask that. I see a lot of properties that I think go under contract with, I would say, not the highest quality of lender might be the way to say it.
Right.
And that seller had no knowledge going into it that they didn't have a high quality lender. And we can talk about all the reasons that matters.
Yeah.
And then the second thing you made me think of whenever you were talking about maybe an agent controlling, and I don't like that word controlling, but
Sorry, not the right word.
I always think of it how I would want a doctor speaking to me. I don't want it sugar-coated. I want to know what the truth is.
Yeah.
I want it in a polite, professional manner.
Right.
But I want that guidance. I'm using a professional to give me professional advice and guidance. And so I think you're right. Sometimes agents will, in the sense of not controlling, will just follow or be a yes ma'am, yes man, and that doesn't typically end up
Because
well.
these people, I have to tell you, the younger buyers now, and the younger buyers are actually getting older now. The demographic is now, they're not 20 years anymore.
They're in their
older anymore.
30s.
They're in their 30s,
Yes.
early 40s. Mom and
I'm
dad.
still in
want
my
them-
20s.
There you go. Nice.
Would you like
I
to
feel
buy a
Nice.
house?
You
I can
feel
help
like
you.
it. I don't see any gray hair over there. I mean,
Stop.
I got a lot of
Stop.
gray hair,
Stop.
but
He's got good hair.
he's got good hair. So, but the reality is they're getting older, and they are more knowledgeable, and I think the fact that technology has really changed a lot of how people approach this.
Absolutely.
So they know that, oh wow, I can look at a commercial on the Super Bowl and go to Rocket Mortgage, and go on the phone and then get pre-approved right there. But the reality is that's not what the steps are. It looks easy, but it's not. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I like to do when I get a buyer is I try not to send them a link to do a loan application. I will take their information over the phone, and you'd be shocked the things you learn about people when you talk to them. And they're like, "You're gonna take the stuff over the phone?" Yeah, we're gonna take it right now, and you're gonna give me a verbal confirmation that I can pull your credit, and then I'm gonna talk about things that you may or may not know as far as when your start date was and whatnot. But we'll get into that. But we're gonna get you going right away with me, so you know who I am and what I expect.
I love that.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
nice. I
but
hadn't
because
heard
a
that.
lot of people will not do it because of the automation process. And, I know that one of the greatest loan officers, she passed away, Ann Bell, she used to work at Community Mortgage, and I used to go to her all the time asking her for some advice and guidance, and she would always take her loan applications over the phone. Even though as our company got more evolved with the technology to be able to do things automated, still, I was able to, let's do it on the phone. If it's not a good time right now, then let's call you back in an hour.
Right.
You know what's interesting that you just said? You took that phone call, you answered their questions, you talked to them, and
Not a virtual assistant.
not
or
a virtual assistant,
robocall.
not somebody in the Philippines, not a robocall.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get some pushback on this, and they can blame me, but Meatha and I have been with Crylike for 20 years now. You've been with Crump Mortgage
Since 09.
since 09.
Almost 20.
And I know people have to change brokerages. I know they have to change mortgage companies. And I see that. But consistently, the top loan officers, the top real estate agents, they typically stay in place. And I think that kind of goes back to our point. I know agents sometimes switch brokerages. They struggle. And so they want to switch brokerages thinking, I'll go work at this new brokerage and everything will be super easy, be much easier.
The
Loan
grass
office-
is not always greener.
If you can't change, there are agents that probably split for, maybe they get like a higher commission split for a few months. I'm sure it's the same in the brokerage business where you can switch and
Yep.
maybe get a quick incentive. But if you're not if you don't have the right basics, like we're talking about here, it's not going to change anything.
I will tell you that loyalty runs deep in me. And I worked at Merrill Lynch for the longest time. The only reason that I stopped working in that industry was 9/11. I came down here in 2003. I witnessed 9/11. A lot of people know that story. It was a horrible day. I was a block and a half away. I lost friends. I had the opportunity to move down here to Memphis to do something similar. That's really the only reason that broke my loyalty with Merrill Lynch. And then when Rob gave me a shot to work, there were one or two instances where I felt frustrated with how the company was being operated, and the temptation to go to work somewhere else was there. And I did not, because I knew that carrying that card that had the Crump logo and the community mortgage backing us, local powerhouse, I was like, just think if you left, how much you'd have to redo all your marketing. If you went and worked at a bank, like, would they allow me to do my videos? Would they allow me to do all of the things that I do now? Or would they kind of just ratchet me down and say, well, you work for a bank now and we have rules. Now, we have rules too, but again, it's a little bit more flexible. So, I agree with you that, again, the people that are most successful in the industry, and you look at some of the top producers at our company, they have been there for a long time. And they don't shift around. I call it the carousel. You get on there, and the next thing you know, you're there for 6 months, and then you go somewhere else, and you go somewhere else, you go somewhere else.
Yeah, that's not good. It's one thing to jump off a sinking ship. You made a bad choice.
Well, that's
Picked
true.
the wrong company.
Right.
You need a switch. But the constant framework of the grass is greener, I'm going to go somewhere else, and now 2 years later, somewhere else, you're not pouring into your sphere. You're not pouring into educating yourself and sharpening your skills, because you're constantly looking for the greener grass. Grass is greener where you water it.
There you go. And I'll tell you, Mr. Sandlin, the owner of Community Mortgage, there have been circumstances where he has hired back people that have left. And he's been completely understanding. A good loan officer leaves because they feel they can make more money here, or they can do this. He's hired those people back because of who he is, and he realizes their value. And not that he made a mistake, but he's like, you know what? Okay, you realize that it's not greener on the other side, so come on back to where you could be
I've
successful.
heard a good quote. You may think your neighbor's grass is greener, but have you seen their water bill?
Oh.
And
Yep.
As we're talking, and I mean, this is catered towards lenders, sellers, buyers, anyone. I would just say that hard work, authenticity, being responsive and communicating, that's the number one thing. We've talked about some of our failures, and it's funny, the most expensive things that I paid for, those are the things that didn't work out.
Right.
When I spent my actual time, like you did, when somebody calls and you take their information over the phone, you answer their questions, that is what is very productive, and that is what gets you across the finish line. So it's, I'm a big fan of Rick DeLuca. People still make fun of me. Rick DeLuca's he's
Good.
still on YouTube. If you're
Yeah.
a newer agent, please go there. It's free. And I still watch his videos. It's similar to Ninja. I know you've had other guests on the show, like Tracy Kirkley and Anna Bishop. A lot of them do Ninja. I love it. And he's the same thing. Those principles are the exact same now as they were in the 80s and 90s, et cetera.
Yeah.
Well,
And
you mentioned it, being authentic. I think of you in like football parties and being authentic yourself around people in gatherings. Andy, your videos work because you're authentic whenever you're talking about numbers. If I go on there and start talking about some numbers, it's not going to be authentic. It's literally going to be reading from a screen. That is not going to work for me. But it is whenever you're just who you are.
Yes.
And you're putting yourself out there. And we were talking about this weekend. It's really hard as an agent. I mean, and a lender. What other job do you have where you get up every morning and you go interview? I tell my girlfriends, I'm like, oh yeah, I had an interview today. That's what it is whenever I go sit down to discuss someone hiring me to help them with their home buying or selling. So it's constantly putting yourself out there.
Goes back to being in the office and listening to what these agents they have to do. And some of the agents, as that they're getting older, and technology now is starting to kind of ramp up. And I'm glad I'm in the office a lot of times, because I help them with some of the technology issues that they may have, whether their laptop or their phone or whatnot. So, but being in the office and hearing what you have to go through, there's no way I would do what you guys do. There's no way that I could do that. I really couldn't. So
Wow.
There's no get-rich-quick scheme. There's no fly-by-night. I mean, there's been hundreds of millions of agents and lenders, and don't you realize that if there was a really just magic wand or magic trick, it would have been invented. It doesn't exist.
And everyone would be doing it, right?
And
exactly.
One other thing, and this is a funny story, but one of the things that worked really well for us, and we chuckle about it, is back in 2017, I would go on the Germantown, Tennessee real estate Facebook page. There still exists. It's a Germantown page. There's a Bartlett. There's a Collierville. I went on there, and I literally sold 8 houses.
He was an early adapter of the Facebook marketing.
I met 8 buyers and sellers, and they closed in 1 year.
How many did you close this year?
Well, that's where I was going to go. So in 2017, I sold 8. And we became we're truly friends with a few of these folks even now. And I thought, I'll just do this. This is great. I don't have to do. And then the next year I sold 0. I didn't forget how to sell real estate. What happened was all these other agents joined it.
Yeah.
And Jeff Howard, who you've had on the show, is fantastic. Every once in a while, once every 6 months, somebody will say, hey, I need an agent. Do you have any recommendations? And you'll get a list of truly 200 people. And Jeff and I will go on there, and instead of, because there's so many, we don't even try. It will be like, oh yeah, so-and-so's good, try them. And so we laugh about it now.
It's you recommending another agent.
It's us recommending another agent. And
it doesn't matter.
Because we don't even try. And so that's the thing. And that was also obviously free. That was another tool that was free that did work. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just everyone else adapted to it.
Yeah.
And so, as we said, it just goes back to the basics. And you said it yourself. You learned that 20 years ago on the mortgage floor. Or on the bond floor. It's the same now.
Yeah. Well, and being authentic. The basics and being authentic. Meeting people, trying to connect with them, helping them because that's what you're there for, not like the salesperson breath.
Right. So the challenge that I have all the time too is I for years when I first started, I tried to reinvent how do I generate business for myself where I can refer out to a realtor, and unfortunately, that wheel you can't change it. I use the reference of when you go buy a car, you walk into the dealership, you sit down, and the leather smells so good, and you love the color, and then the dealer comes over and goes, man, you look good in that car. And then you fall in love with the car, and then the guy's like, okay, well, here, let's go talk to the finance guy. That's the same thing that happens in the real estate community. Everyone goes online first, they find the house that they like. The last thing they're thinking about is walking into a mortgage company and getting a mortgage first, and then going and shopping for a house. So for me, I have to somehow be able to reciprocate back to the real estate community with tools that they can use and not ask for anything but the referral back. And that's a challenge. It really is. And that's why these videos and the content that I'm giving to people, I hope they understand, hey, Andy's giving me these tools to learn so I can be dangerous when I'm talking to someone about what's going on in the market.
But I've seen you out. I've seen you networking, taking pictures at events. You do give back. Tyler's seen you handing out ink pens.
Oh gosh, the pens.
Like you're a politician.
The pens at our office. It's funny. It's a different story to tell, but they disappear pretty quick at the offices. But that's okay. That's okay. More people have them, then it doesn't hurt. But I love doing the events at MAR. I really do. Agents love to get their picture taken. They really do, especially if they don't have to worry about using their phone. So for years, I would go, and I brought one of my rigs here with me today because I'm very proud of it. For years, I would bring my camera and I would start taking pictures at Women's Council. And people would walk around there, they'd go, well, aren't you a mortgage guy? I'm like, well, yeah, I am, but I'm a photographer too, and I love taking pictures. So I started getting on board with that, and then if I didn't show up for whatever reason, if there was something going on that day I couldn't make it, they're like, Andy, are you coming? Are you coming? Because so-and-so is speaking today, and I was missed. So it's so much fun. I love doing it. It's just another side hobby. And if you follow me on Facebook, I take pictures of my sons playing soccer, basketball, whatever it is. But I really enjoy it. And it's funny you talk about that, because we mentioned this last week about, hey, Andy, you are an expert on the mortgage side. What else can you offer back? So in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to schedule a get-together where I can hopefully educate agents on how to use either a still camera, or I have a couple of GoPro style cameras that you can use to shoot some video content yourself, so you can turn it and get it out fast. And I'm not trying to knock the big companies that are doing it right now, because some of the videos that are out there, like they're so professional and amazing.
You can't duplicate that.
You cannot duplicate that unless you're me. No, I'm kidding. I'm only kidding.
But there is a place for this.
There is
a place,
absolutely.
And holding my phone like this is not
always
the best.
No, it's not. And I'll tell you what, if you can roll out a video of you on the video, and it doesn't have to. So you have to figure out: do you want it to be perfect, or do you want it to be you? And the ones that are perfect are the bigger houses that are out there, and that's fine. And agents, they tell me, like, well, Andy, I don't have the time to do it. Well, if you make the time, I did my Monday Mortgage Minute next door in 5 minutes. I edited it on CapCut, and it's ready to go. It took me 15 minutes to do. So once you pick up on it, and if I can teach people how to do that, they will start to be able to do their own content and have the professional video, but also add something else on about the house that you may not see.
And that's
in that video.
authentic.
Yes.
And it's
and it's
I'm not
going to.
It's low cost, because you know how to do that. So
Right.
we're saying this I think that is a good summary of what we're talking about. You have the knowledge. To me, even that looks just intimidating. So it's really thoughtful for you to offer that to other agents and just the general public. Hey, I can show you how to use these cameras. Here's what I would recommend. I'm sure you can even give them a link or something like that. But it's amazing how you're offering something that you're not telling people they got to spend a lot of money, that they don't have to hire you. It's just imparting that knowledge and wisdom. And I think that's what whether it's cameras or selling houses or doing mortgages, that's the real honest answer to it.
Yeah.
I'm curious. So you do all of this on social media. Are you getting business from social media?
I get some.
Okay.
I get the agents that are following me on there. But
Okay.
again, I'm trying to redirect the marketing on all of that to try to focus on the external sources. So, if there was a buyer's page that I could find where I could put my stuff on there that are people that are looking to purchase a home, like I'll post it on the Germantown page. I have a business page. I have a personal page. The personal page shows me who I am, so it's authenticity right there also. But, I am getting some business from it, but I feel like if I stop doing it, then people will, I don't know if they'll pull back more. I don't know. It's a good question. I haven't tracked it. People know who I am. I'll go to Mar at an event and they're like, yeah, I watch your videos. And I'm like, well, great.
That's cool.
That's great. Let's make a call. Let's have a phone call and talk about your business and learn more about how I operate. So within those video contents, I'm always saying, hey, some of the things that I do to help.
They've become
Did I answer your
familiar with
question?
you.
Okay.
Yeah, they've become familiar with you. We talked about this. You said, man, I'm starting to do loans for pretty big size agent.
Yeah.
And you said it took a while.
Right.
And I finally was able to, capture her. And I said, what happened was she saw how hard you were working and that you were in the office, you were answering calls, you were treating the clients well. And this particular agent had been doing it for probably 40 years. So she knew other lenders just like we know other lenders, but she saw your daily habits.
That was climbing Mount Everest with this agent. It really was, quite honestly. It really was.
But that's a credit to you. But
Yeah.
I think that's what we're talking about. One last Rick DeLuca story. And I actually, when I was with on the board of governors or the board of directors for MMDC, he came here from Oregon. I flew him into town, and it was packed. It was so awesome. It was completely full.
Spoke at Mar, right?
Spoke at
I
Mar.
remember.
He did it for free. He literally did not charge. He just said pay the traveling expenses. There was a gentleman there in the front row. He was the very first one there. He had a handwritten book of his notes from 1992.
Whoa.
And he sat. I don't know who he was. I don't think. I mean, he was clearly a member of MAR, but he was there. But one of the things Rick says, and once again, you can watch his videos on YouTube, and this has happened with me, and I got very upset. He spoke in front of all these agents, and he's wrapping up, and there's a gentleman just along the wall there kind of waiting for him to finish, and he's packing up his stuff, and the gentleman comes up to him and he said, I'm so happy to get to meet you. And he kind of is looking around, and he's like, Rick, there's no one around now. Why don't you tell me your real secrets? and Rick said, what do you mean? And he goes, no, I heard you, but that's not possible. And I've spoken at MAR, I've spoken to CryLike before, and I had a gentleman once say, oh yeah, I heard you talk, but you didn't share anything, and I lost it, and I said, no, you heard, but you didn't listen. I told you everything, and I still will tell you everything. You don't want to do that. You want that.
They want the magic formula that they think is going to change. That'll change their business without reading between the lines, basically.
And I mean, we see agents that sometimes get super fancy websites and all these other things, and it's fine if that's what you want to do, but the real successful lenders, agents, they work hard. And we were talking about working late. One of my favorite quotes is, the guy that works when no one else is watching will one day be the guy everyone is watching. And there's a lot of truth to that. So
that's a really good one. I like that. That's really good.
It helps me feel better when I am working late at night or early in the morning. It kind of motivates me a little bit.
Well, again, that falls back on my brothers. First guy in, last guy to leave, which is a really good. I mean, that's how we started talking. Honestly, he's there and we're late and nobody was there, and we just started talking. And
we didn't talk really high complex real estate stuff, just because Andy would cream me when it comes to that, and he'd also destroy me if we talk about cameras. But I am looking forward to that, so I hope you.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'm going to schedule it the next couple of weeks. And what I'll do is I'll have a drawing for try to either do a GoPro or one of these other Insta360 cameras that are really great that I use either on the road or what if I'm driving, I can do a quick video and stop. And don't shoot videos, guys, when you're driving. Okay, a lot of people do that out there. I don't know why, but
have you seen the little pocket ones? They're like almost bigger than an ink pen.
Yeah, I mean, if I can reach over here, let's see if I can.
Oh, you have one of those kinds.
Let's see if I can reach this without knocking. So this is just as an example. This is just an Insta360 camera, and it's really tiny, and you can detach it, and it's a magnet too, so you can wear it on your chest. But it's got a little monitor in the back too, so you can see what you're shooting if you're going this way. It's a great little camera, and they're very reasonable. They're like $200-300. And you could upload to your phone and do the video right from there, and I can show you how to do that. They're very easy to use, and with all the information that you can get on your phone, with some people like CapCut, I do because I know how to use it, but it's really fast, and you could knock a video out in less than 20 minutes.
So I'm reminded of the Nike slogan. Do you know what the Nike slogan is?
Just do it.
Just do it.
Do it.
I'm thinking about these cameras.
Yeah.
Please, as agents, lenders, don't wait and think, well, I'll do it tomorrow when the weather looks better, or after I get my hair cut or something like that. Just go out there, do that, learn, and rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah, it goes back too on how you want to be perceived. Like if you want to be the agent that has only professional videos, then that's who you are. Nothing wrong with that. Those videos are fantastic. I'm glad I don't do those anymore because it's so much work. And these guys here will tell you the same thing about how detailed that stuff is. And they're very expensive to do. If that's what you want to do, that's great. But if you want to be the authentic agent that wants to shoot your own stuff and it look pretty good, I can help you along those ways and save you a little bit of money too. But then it's yours and you can control it. So we'll do something like that in the next couple of weeks, and we'll do a drawing for one of these, and hopefully some people will get out there and start using it. We'll see what kind of people will show up and actually come and listen to me.
Yeah,
Which
I'm
would be
excited.
fun. Yeah, so it'll be kind of fun.
And it won't be late at the office either.
No, it won't be late. That's right.
That's
so,
awesome.
well, and then I'll close on this. So getting back to what we talked about in regards to how to generate business for me, I feel so. The passion that I have to give back to the real estate community is very strong because, like I said, I don't have people coming and calling me for the mortgage. It's just if I get one or two a year, their credit is usually bad. So I don't rely on that. So I like to help agents develop their relationships that they already have and keep in touch with that. And this is a plug for a system that I use. It's called List Reports, and I've been pushing it on social media, and it's great. And the great thing about it is it's my platform, and it doesn't cost you, the agent, anything. And it's a CRM, and you upload all of your clients to the system. I do not have access to them, and they then are staying in touch with their clients on a monthly basis by giving them home valuations. Now, the valuations are not going to be anywhere near as detailed as you guys doing them and pulling comps, but if it were to come across that they either will look too low or too high, well, there's a phone conversation that you just had. And there's a big agent that I'm good friends with. It took me 8 weeks to convince him to do it, and he uploaded hundreds of his previous clients onto the system. And within the last couple of weeks, he says his phone has not stopped ringing because they're getting this information. So if you're out there and you're listening,
we'll all sign up on that.
We'll sign up on that,
Yeah,
right?
we're all
Because
signed up
agents,
on
like,
that.
I joke with agents like, hey, look, we're all lazy when it comes to doing data input, but all you got to do is put 1 or 2 or 3 in a day, and you'd be shocked at how it transfers your business and the conversations you can have when email goes out, and you can follow up with a phone call. Hey, you're going to be getting this on a monthly basis. It'll give you an idea what your house is worth. It gives you a lot of other intuitive things that you can play with. And I got to tell you, I think the agents that are using it now, and they're a handful, they're probably about 20 or 25, they really love it. And it helps with their listings too. It does marketing thing. It's really fun. So it's a plug. If you'd like to do that and you're watching today, I'll just send me an invitation and I'll email it out to you. But I'll send it to you guys too. I joke again with agents. They don't like when I call them lazy, but we're all lazy. Data input's brutal.
Time's at a premium.
Please send it, and I guarantee you, we will use it.
Got it. I'll do that. Meatha, Tyler, thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking the time to come down here. Again, this is the community table. I'm Andy O'Fee, the Yankee closer from Crump Mortgage. Proud to say that I've been in the business now since 2009 and dedicated to working with Rob and the community mortgage team. So Meatha, Tyler, why don't you share your contact information with everyone out there, so in case anybody had any questions about what you discussed today, they can go to you direct.
He loves to answer the phone, 901-871-1290.
And it's me. It's not a virtual assistant or, robo-blocker or anything like that.
Tyler Tapley, Meatha Tapley. Thank you.
Thanks so much. My number is 901-237-3526. You can follow me on Facebook, theyankeecloser.com. Do a lot of great stuff on there if you've watched it this far. And hopefully we can generate some new ideas for you to help grow your business. And I hope you've learned something from these two amazing people today. Thanks.